Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News. Little squeak to start the video off. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing the effects ongoing of climate change. And for what it's worth, there were 500 plus comments on the last video. So I guess if anything, I sparked a lot of discussion, and I appreciate it. Thank you for being a part of the discussion and being willing to at least entertain a map or a more detailed thought out map. I think a thoughtful discourse on what needs to be done and how to achieve action is better than none. That's just me. Obviously, we are hurtling toward disaster with little to no brakes being applied, but try we must. Some of us. Anyways, so I wanted to talk in this video, sure to maybe possibly stroke a lot more discussion, but I want to talk about the misinformation going on around the fires happening in California. Trump's ludicrous tweets have been front page news. Also, I've seen misinfo on other sites about directed energy weapons and engineered drought. All right. Yeah, good God, please get a brain, guys. Even Q is giving out bullshit misinfo on the fires, saying they are manufactured to get emergency funding from the government to make up for funding cuts around the sanctuary city status of some California cities. Look, I get that it's really fashionable to think that everything is a globalist plan to control us, the fair and righteous citizens of the US. But guys, please understand that climate change is a pretty simple mechanism that has a lot of consequences. One of those consequences is fire. Why? Let me just break it down. What I've been seeing in LA, the trees are dying. And we know also from direct observation that this is happening all over the state. It has been happening for quite some time. We have had record low snowpack for the last several years, leading to drought conditions. We've had record high temps and record high average temps, and that is also contributing to the dry conditions. We've had no rain for the entire summer, fairly low levels for the last year. Just the tree situation alone is enough to cause major concern. I'm waiting for the entire city of LA to go up in flames any moment. The trees and vegetation are incredibly dry and sickly. All of these things can be attributed to what? Climate change. All of these are well-documented mechanisms and consequences of climate change. It's very, very simple science. You conspiracy people are like, you're on the wrong side of this argument every single time. Please do some research. Don't just make up shit. I'll link a video below to, I watch this one guy, he does a lot of conspiracy stuff. I find it very interesting. I don't, a lot of the stuff he says is sometimes pretty laughable. Many times pretty laughable, but some of the stuff is interesting. But when he starts talking about the weather, I lose a gasket. Anyways, I'm going to link a video, which he's actually just linking somebody else's video. But I mean, it's just, y'all are just making stuff up at this point. There's no science to back up what you're saying. So you're not doing any research. You're just echoing what other people are saying. It's just an echo chamber of misinformation. If you would like to have real information, just watch this channel every day. I give it to you over and over and over and over, and it's coming from every direction. That's what's happening with climate change. The planet is not only heating up, we are also destroying the habitat of our planet hand over fist. We are killing species and wildlife. We are polluting every single thing that we touch. Lakes, rivers, oceans, forests. We're destroying them. as quick as we can in order to feed 7, almost 8 billion people, and to allow them to buy televisions and iPhones and cars and boats and mansions and, you know, anything your heart can desire. That's what we're doing to the planet. We're destroying it so that everybody can buy everything that they want all the time. That's very simple too. That's a very simple mechanism. If you guys can't see that, can't figure that out, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you. Sooner or later, you all, the conspiracy folk, are going to put it together that we are in a bad way. It'll be easier for you and your children, I suppose, if you can just blame it on the government or the globalists or whatever. And seriously, why would someone do this on purpose? To what end? It costs money to fight fires. So getting emergency funding is a boon to who? You know, there have been fires all over the Pacific Northwest, including British Columbia, all summer and fall. So are they all making this happen? And why? Sooner or later, you might just get it through your thick skulls that climate change wasn't created in a think tank to control you. The idea that it's a hoax or debatable or natural or a globalist agenda, all of that was created in a think tank to get you to think everything's okay until it's not, until the very last minute, way beyond when anyone can do anything about it. When people ask why we didn't do something sooner, eventually the eyes will swing toward you. When looking for who to lay the blame on, I hope you're ready for those consequences. And I'm going to finish up this video with an article. And this is from NBC News. Mismanagement isn't to blame for California wildfires, scientists say. Scientists say this, bucking Trump. We're in extreme climate change right now, one fire official said. We're doing all we can to prevent incidents and mitigate incidents and save lives. Fire scientists to Trump, you're wrong. The devastating wildfires that ignited across California last week, killing 31 so far and destroying thousands of homes, had little to do with gross mismanagement, experts said. President Trump made that claim on Saturday during a trip to France, saying without evidence that there is no reason for these massive, deadly, and costly forest fires in California, except that forest management is so poor. But scientists and fire officials say that climate change and the dried out trees and shrubs produced by a changing environment are the real culprits. You could read that again. Scientists and fire officials say that climate change and the dried out trees and shrubs produced by a changing environment are the real culprits. Just, if you want some evidence of that, open your eyes and look. Asked about Trump's claim on Monday, one of the fire officials in charge of battling Southern California's WOOLSEY fire, Los Angeles County Fire Chief Darrell Osby, said he found it unsatisfactory. We're in extreme climate change right now, Osby said. Or Osby, I don't know, they spelled it two different ways. We're doing all we can to prevent incidents and mitigate incidents and save lives. University of Utah fire scientist Philip Dennison said the researchers know that mismanagement isn't to blame because some of the new areas now burning were charred in 2005 and 2008. They aren't fuel-choked, closed canopy forests, Dennison said. In those earlier fires, Paradise was threatened but escaped major damage, he said. In the current blazes, the town was virtually destroyed. The other major fire in Southern California burned through shrub land, not forest, Dennison said. It's not about forest management, he said. These aren't forests. The dean of the University of Michigan's Environmental School, Jonathan Overpeck, said Western fires are getting bigger and more severe. He said it is much less due to bad management as instead the result of our baking of our forests, woodlands, and grasslands with ever worsening climate change. See how that works? It gets hotter, things get drier, things get really dry and die. Those become tinder dry and very prone to fire. It's like as simple as an equation as you could possibly want. So don't complicate it. Don't muddy it up there, people. Wildfires have become more devastating because of the extreme weather swings from global warming, fire scientists say. The average number of U.S. acres burned by wildfires has doubled over the level from 30 years ago. As of Monday, more than 13,200 square miles have burned. That's more than a third higher than the 10-year average. The two fires now burning aren't that far out of line with the fires we've seen in these areas in recent decades, Dennison said. The biggest factor was wind, Dennison said in an email. With wind speeds as high as they are, there was nothing firefighters could do to stop the advance of the fires. How about that? Wind. Is that manufactured too? Everything's manufactured. Nothing is real. The wind is so strong the fire breaks areas where trees and brush have been cleared or intentionally burned to deprive the advancing flames of fuel won't work. One of the fires jumped over 8 lanes of freeway, about 140 feet, Dennison said. Southern California had fires similar to the Woolsey fire in 1982 when winds were 60 miles per hour, but the difference between 1982 and today is a much higher population in these areas. Many more people were threatened and had to evacuate. Dennison said, California has also been in drought for all but a few years of the 21st century and is now experiencing its longest drought, which began on December 27th, 2011, and has lasted 358 weeks, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. Nearly 2/3 of the state is abnormally dry. The first 9 months of the year have been the 4th warmest on record for California, and this past summer was the 2nd hottest on record in the state. Because of that, there are 129 million dead trees, which provide fuel for fires, said wildfire expert Kristen Thornick of the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research in Germany. And it's more than trees. Dead shrubs around the bottom of the trees provide what is called ladder fuel, offering a path for the fire to climb from the ground to the treetops and intensifying the conflagration by a factor of 10 to 100, said Kevin Ryan, a fire consultant and former fire scientist at the U.S. Forest Service. While many conservatives advocate cutting down more trees to prevent fire, no one makes money by cutting dead shrubs, and that's a problem, he said. Local and state officials have cleared some Southern California shrub, enough for normal weather and winds. That's not enough for this type of extreme drought, said Ryan, also a former firefighter. That's all I'm going to read of that article. I just want to add that I have witnessed there is major and massive tree and shrub removal in Southern California or in LA right now. They're really, really trying to mitigate a disaster scenario because there are probably just in LA alone a few million dead trees, and anything can spark this. We still have very warm weather during the days. We still have had high winds or wind conditions in the area, and no rain in sight, no cold weather in sight. This could just continue into the new year. That's all I have for you for this video. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.